I'm joined now by Del Alexander, the new wide receivers coach at Notre Dame. Del, first of all, welcome to the program. I know the last couple of weeks have been a whirlwind for you guys trying to put this class together, but here they are, just about entirely complete. And it includes a couple of guys that you're going to be working with closely at the wide receiver position. One of those young men is Michael Young, Jr. I'm curious your assessment of him as a football player.
Yeah, Michael out of Strahan High School there in Louisiana is a tremendous talent. I was able to meet Michael a couple of years ago there in Louisiana, and after visiting him at home, I can see why he's so determined. He's dynamic, he's a playmaker. He's got a lot of great qualities to help us win.
I know Autry Jensen recruited him heavily and was very excited to get him on board. Another guy that you're bringing is Jafar Armstrong. What stands out about him?
He's explosive. For him to be a state champion in track and field, you can obviously see how fast he is, but he has a physical presence, and he's very smart.
Actually, I've seen that he's a 3-time state champion, which speaks to his speed. That's one thing you can't coach. How much of a benefit is it to get a guy that you can go over the top with at any point in time?
Right. Well, you have an advantage because you have an opportunity to keep a safety deep, and if a safety is going to stand flat-footed and give you an opportunity to run by him, then it's one of the things that our offense is going to expose. We want to be explosive, so having a guy with that kind of speed is going to help us do that.
In addition to being a state track champion, Jafar is also a state football champion, so this kid really doesn't know how to lose. When you talk about bringing kids into a program, how important is it to get guys that have success?
Well, Jafar does. He comes from an excellent program. Guys that understand how to win in high school, or guys that they're going to understand how to win in college. So that's very important.
A lot of times wide receivers are guys that can get on the field at a young age because they don't necessarily need to put on the strength or the size that say a lineman does. What's the biggest challenge that you find, though, in terms of a young guy getting playing time on a Saturday?
The speed of the game is one of the things that they have to adapt to. They have to understand the playbook. Some of the things are pretty simple, but at the same time they're all new. So we have to sit down and evaluate where they are and be smart about how much they can handle so that they can have some confidence and play with speed.
I know another thing that often comes into play, and receivers don't like hearing this, but blocking is an important part of what your guys do. How often is that a difficult thing to learn as you transition up a level?
Well, it's a mentality. When you recruit a receiver, a lot of times you like to see them play on defense, because if they're a defensive player, then they're willing to block, they're willing to take a hit, they're willing to deliver a blow and be on special teams. So I think, these two guys, you can see on film that they are physical by nature, and they're not afraid to get after it.
Now you come to this program having worked pretty closely with Chip Long over the years at your time at Arizona State. I'm curious how you would describe the relationship between the two of you, and then also the kind of offenses that you guys have had success working in the past.
Well, obviously living close to Chip and carpooling with him for a number of years, you learn a lot about a person, and I know that he is extremely energetic and motivated. He's an aggressive play caller because he's an aggressive person. So we really identify with each other, whether he's being aggressive and I'm kind of being a little laid back, and then we can reverse roles. But we understand each other pretty clearly. I think that what we want to do is just go fast. We want to go fast. We want to run, 100 plays a game if we can, which is a lot. But at the same time, we want to push the tempo, and we got to get our guys on that same page.
Now, for a wide receiver, that generally translates into a lot of running. So physical stamina is important, and also perhaps that creates the opportunity for more guys to see the field as well, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. It's not a gimmick that we want to throw the ball around and that we want to run a lot of plays. We want to make sure that we're the best conditioned team, and that's a mental conditioning as well. They've got to have some mental toughness. There is a lot of running, so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for guys to get on the field. And if you're running a lot of extra plays, then there's more catches, more runs, more blocking that has to be done.
A lot of those are the type of things that I would imagine kids like to hear as you go into a recruit's house, not only as you wrapped up this cycle, but also as you guys start to transition your thoughts to 2018. What has the reception been like for you among the kids when you explain to them what your vision is for this offense?
Well, it's been great. First and foremost, before we go in and talk about what we're going to do on offense, it's the brand that's strong. We go in and we can open doors because we are Notre Dame. But at the same time, when you talk about how a kid fits fits in your offense and the things that you can do for him and the things that he can do for you. And there's a mutual understanding that there's some give and take and that we work for each other. But overall, I think that it's the brand and then the style of offense follows that.
Now, there's an additional challenge for you and many of your colleagues this year in that not only do you have these new incoming freshmen to learn next year, but you've got a whole team to learn. But I know you've looked at a lot of film. In terms of the wide receivers that are on your roster now that have played last year, what have you seen and what do you like?
Well, I really like their length. I like some of the guys, their quickness and their ability to compete for balls. I think that this group is competitive. I think that this group is hungry. I think that this team is hungry. You go into the weight room early in the morning, and the guys are energetic and they're pushing one another as teammates, as brothers, and that's one of the things that stands out the most. These guys aren't standing around waiting for someone to give them something there, and they're trying to earn it.
The receivers are also, as a rule, young at the program right now, although a lot of them have played on Saturdays, which can be a bit of a double-edged sword. How do you kind of see the experience factor with these guys, given their age?
Right. Well, a lot of these guys have taken the first step, and in taking the first step, there's going to be some things that they're going to have to learn. But since they've already done that, then the expectation is pretty high. They're no longer new if they've already crossed the line and been on the field to play. So the expectation now is for those guys to go out and take care of their business at the receiver position.
And now that you've got this recruiting cycle wrapped up, I know you'll turn your attention to 2018. In fact, you've probably already done that, but it won't be too long now before we see you out on the field practicing with your guys. I'm curious, given all the flux that you've been in the last several weeks, how anxious you are to start coaching football again.
Well, it's the most important part of it, to get out on the field with the guys and to be a teacher and to watch those guys perform. It gives you some insight into what's going to happen next fall. Whatever happened in the past is in the past, and it'll be our experiences and our relationships that help us prepare for the future.
And as you start to work with your guys, looking to March here, what's kind of your first order of business? They know the playbook, you'll have meetings, but in terms of getting on the field with them, what's kind of the first thing you think you probably need to teach them so that they know how to play for you?
Right. Well, the first thing is the evaluation of the fundamentals. That'll be the primary focus, is to get on the field and see, where they are fundamentally. And once I evaluate that, the next step is going to see, what their mental endurance is like. I need to see if there's some toughness there. I want to see if there's some grit there. I want to see if these guys are willing to do whatever it takes.
And once you've done that, then as it comes to fine-tuning things, it's the receiver position is interesting because you might only get one or two shots a game, but it can be such an important part of the game. How do you find it's best to train these guys to be able to go full speed for maybe 100 plays a game, like you guys say, knowing they might only get one or two cracks at it?
Right. Well, that's the job. If a receiver catches 10 passes a game, then he's probably had a great game. So yeah, we're talking about 3, 4, 5 opportunities to catch a ball. That's just the part about being unselfish, and understanding what your role is and how you fit on the team. There's a lot of chances for you to contribute other than catching the ball, and that's a mentality that we have to train.
Del, I appreciate your time. I know it's a busy day for you and the staff, but we look forward to getting to watch you coach these guys, both the incoming guys and the current guys, in the near future. And that's Del Alexander, the wide receivers coach here at Notre Dame. And now we're going to throw it back to Jack Nolan. Jack?